Hey you, yeah you who clicked on this video. Thanks for giving our channel a shot. And if you will, please do us the honor of watching the video all the way through. Appreciate it. Now onto the video.
Oh my goodness. So the Great Purge is upon us. And it looks like there is no mercy coming from James Gunn and Peter Safran. What am I talking about? Well, let's get into it. So there's been a lot of interesting tweets that have been coming out in the last couple of weeks. Tweets from Gal Gadot talking about how grateful she was to have been playing Wonder Woman and how she can't wait to show fans the next chapter of the Wonder Woman saga. There have been tweets from The Rock basically talking about how there's a new era of the DCEU, being led by Black Adam, despite the fact that even though I enjoyed Black Adam as a film and it was really fun, it bombed. It was a complete commercial flop. And just really strange tweets coming out of different talent, both in front of and behind the camera, from DC Warner Brothers talent. Not necessarily any of the producers, but a lot of the actors, actresses, and directors. And now we know why. So coming out, and this was from the Hollywood Reporter, apparently James Gunn and Peter Safran, who are heading up the DCEU, are not going to be continuing with Wonder Woman starring Gal Gadot in its current incarnation. In particular, they have passed on the script by Patty Jenkins and Jeff Johns. Surprise, surprise. And it doesn't look like they'll be pursuing any more projects with Gal Gadot starring as Wonder Woman. Now, this is just interesting to me, but I mean, it's not really that surprising. First of all, we have new ownership led by David Zaslav. We have new people put in charge of DC on film, that being Peter Safran and James Gunn. And I feel like these guys want to start fresh. They don't want to be saddled with the Snyderverse. And to a certain extent, that makes sense. And really, even though I would love to throw this at Zack Snyder's feet, this isn't really all on Zack Snyder. This comes from the previous regime, whether that be the really bad missteps by Walter Hamada, the really interesting choices when it comes to story coming from Jeff Johns. And it's just, the list goes on and on. Ian Sarnoff, I mean, I can name a whole bunch of people. All of the surrogates from Bad Reboot. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. But the reality is that what we really have here is a situation in which it was just bad all the way around. And I really think that James Gunn, if he really wants, in his mind, if he really wants a shot at getting his revenge on Marvel and on Kevin Feige and on Bob Iger, he has to start from scratch and start with his own vision. And to me, that makes perfect sense. Now, am I happy to see Gal Gadot gone? No. Was I happy to see Ray Fisher gone? Absolutely not. But this also puts into question a lot of projects going forward. We know with Black Adam being the commercial flop that it was, we're probably going to be saying goodbye to The Rock. I mean, I enjoyed him as Black Adam. I enjoyed that movie. I have problems with tokenized Hawkman, I'm not going to lie, but I love Aldous Hodge. Like, you have no idea. I have been watching Aldous Hodge since Leverage, and if you know, you know. But, he's not Carter Hall. He's not. I mean, he would have been a great T'Challa. He would have been a great Cyborg. He would have been a great Mr. Terrific. He could have played so many different characters, whether we're talking about in the Dakotaverse. He might have even made a really good Icon, and that's a deep cut for a lot of y'all. The uninitiated, I know y'all don't know, but for all my Milestone alumni, y'all know what it is. And it's just, there are a lot of things that are going on. I mean, we know that if The Rock is gone, we're probably not going to see Henry Cavill. And a lot of you are probably scratching your heads and trying to figure out what that means. Well, what you have to understand is that The Rock and Henry Cavill have the same representation, that being Danny Garcia. She is The Rock's ex-wife, and she's also Henry Cavill and Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock's manager. So if one goes, I'm pretty sure the other's gone too. That's more than likely going to happen. Aquaman, I'm not sure, but with everything going on with Amber Heard, I don't know what they're going to do, honestly. And I don't know if Jason Momoa is necessarily James Gunn's vision for Aquaman in DC going forward. I mean, even though that movie made $1 billion, so you can't discount that. But there's also a bunch of rumors going around that James Gunn wants Jason Momoa to play Lobo. And that makes sense to a certain degree. I mean, like, really think about it. He looks like Lobo already. And he never, to me at least, he never really fit the part of Arthur as far as Aquaman is concerned. You know what I mean? Like, he more so fit an Ocean Master look as far as the comic book canon is concerned. And I thought that was an interesting flip to have the guy that looked like Arthur playing Ocean Master and the guy that looks like Ocean Master playing Aquaman. I thought that was an interesting idea coming from Jeff Johns, but honestly, Jeff Johns and Zack Snyder, but honestly, I mean, I would like to see a traditional Aquaman. I'm not gonna lie, but I would miss Jason Momoa in that role. So, I mean, that's happening. Batfleck, he filmed a bunch of cameo scenes for the Flash movie, and that's also up in the air now, as are Henry Cavill scenes, not only in the Flash, but also in Shazam 2. Speaking of Shazam, don't know what they're going to do with Zachary Levi's Shazam, especially if Black Adam meets the axe as well. So we really don't know. And we all know that Ezra Miller's got to go. Like, he has to go. He is toxic. He is poison. He cannot stay in that role. I didn't like him as Barry Allen anyway. I was one of the people that felt that Grant Gustin should have been given the opportunity because not only would it have created synergy between the brand, but it would have also been a more faithful take on the character of Barry Allen and less of a Diet Spider-Man, which is what they basically had Ezra Miller playing. He was basically Diet Spider-Man. Like, let's not even get crazy here. You know what I mean? And, so that was happening. And, it is what it is. But, I don't know, guys. I'm really just looking at the entire roster of DC, like what's going to happen with the Suicide Squad characters, because as we know, the rebooted Suicide Squad by James Gunn is not necessarily in line with the Snyderverse. I mean, there are some through lines and some connecting tissue there, but it doesn't have to stay that way. Same with Amanda Waller. Will James Gunn be able to cut the cord with Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn? That's a big question that we really are going to have to ask ourselves going forward. But it looks to me like James Gunn is starting this great purge so he can start from scratch. Now, we know that James Gunn and Peter Safran are going to be unveiling their grand plan for the DCEU next week at some point. So I guess we'll find out what's going to happen. I mean, me, for my part, like I say, I'm a large advocate of doing the Justice League like we saw in the cartoons during the early 2000s. I would really love to see that. I would love to see more of the Dakotaverse characters come into prominence, whether that be Static. I mean, we've been due for a Static movie of any kind for a long time. I would love to see that. I would love to see other characters from the Dakotaverse like Icon and Rocket, Hardware, all of these guys, and have some real representation from minority communities. I know Blue Beetle's coming out next year. That's already in the can. I would hope that they keep that, because that's the type of representation and the type of diversity that I'm looking for. Type of diversity and representation that is canon. It is absolutely canon. There's no race swaps, no tokenization. They're original characters that already have a fan base, and we don't need to go and start fooling with already established characters and switching their race and other immutable characteristics about them in order to, force diversity when we already have it baked into the product itself. So, I'm really interested to see what happens going forward. Me, for my part, I think that this purge might be necessary for them to compete with Marvel on an even playing field. I think that a reboot is necessary. I'm interested to see what they'll do with Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, because the Trinity is necessary for DC on film to succeed. But you guys let me know what you think about this, whether or not you think, hey, he should have just kept the Snyderverse and, soldiered on, or if you think that this reboot and, this purging of the old guard is necessary. Sound off in the comments section below, and we'll see you on the next one. 8-Bit Heroes out. Peace.
If you'd like to get a shout out on the channel, then hit that like button, Maybe share it with a couple of friends, and do us the biggest honor of all, and subscribe to the channel so you can join the 8-Bit Heroes family. And while you're at it, hit that bell icon so you can be notified when our new videos come out.